Hey guys, it's me again, the Novice. I'm glad that you guys are back for another video. And before I even get started, I really want to describe what I'm going to be doing today. From now on, I want to start a new little section of the videos where I try to tell past or about the history of cybercrimes so that you guys can get a little feel for it, know a little bit more knowledge, and hopefully engage with the content. If you guys would like to see more of this, just comment it down in the section below. Thank you. And with that out of the way, let's hop right into the video. Nowadays, when people think of cybercrimes, they might think of crimes involving hacking, involving malware attacks, involving all types of complex technology. But what if I told you the earliest cyber attack happened about 2 centuries ago? If you want the exact year, this crime started or took place in 1834. For you guys, that's about 100 years and some change. Before we talk about what happened, we have to talk about the time frame that they were in and the technology that they had. For those of you who didn't know, just like me, there was no internet in the 19th century. Now I won't lie to you, that is pretty crazy. But what they did have during that time frame was something called the semaphore system. Now if I'm getting the name of the system wrong, please don't get on me. I got this from Google, so let's treat Google as the enemy right now, okay? Now I know some of you guys might be scratching your head wondering, what's a semaphore system? Don't worry about it, I'm about to let you know. Well, the semaphore system was created in France in the summer of 1790. Now when I think of the summer, I think of fun in the sun, chilling at the beach, maybe going out with a few friends. But that is not what this summer was about. During this time, France was on the brink of a revolution. It was almost like a two-sided attack. Inside, they had their own citizens rioting and protesting, and on the outside, they had their own enemies as well. With all this going on, France then thought to himself,
wouldn't it be great if we had a way to share and communicate our information?
So to put simply, that's what they did. And this is what the semaphore system was. It was a way for the France army to communicate with one another. In France, this was the first way that they tried to communicate outside of the use of animals, like horses and pigeons. So the semaphore system was really revolutionary for its time. And now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty of how these semaphore system worked. So the way that it functioned was that there would be semaphores or towers that were placed around 20 miles away from each other. On the top of these towers, there would be 2 wooden arms that would be attached to a crossbar. These towers had operators who would then control the wooden arms to send signals to the other towers. The way that messages were sent, one tower would send a message with the crossbar and the wooden arms to the next tower over, and they would continue to relay to the next tower over until they're able to get their message across to everybody. In total, these towers could create 196 different positions. These positions were the way that they communicated with each other. They knew what the positioning of the wooden arms meant, and then they would pass it along to the others. Now keep the semaphore system in mind, because this is the main way that this crime was pulled off. But without further ado, let's introduce ourselves to the culprit of this crime. The culprits of this crime were Francois and Joseph Blanc. Not gonna lie, I really fell in love with saying Francois. It just sounds so clean. Francois, Francois, Francois. But moving on. These brothers traded government bond stocks at Bordeaux, France. Now I have to communicate a little bit about how the stock exchange worked in Bordeaux. As stated, the Blanc Brothers traded using the Bordeaux Stock Exchange. Now this is the part to really listen, because this is how the Bordeaux brothers took advantage of a system to commence their crime. Now the stock system in Bordeaux pretty much worked the same way as the stock system in Paris. If the stock in Paris were to go up, the stock in Bordeaux would go up as well. If the stock in Paris were to go down, the stock in Bordeaux would also go down too. However, the stock market in Bordeaux went down a few days after the one in Paris. To put simply, this means that if you were to live in Bordeaux and were able to get the information for the stock in Paris before the move had happened, you could then capitalize and gain a whole bunch of money using this type of system. This means that if you lived in Bordeaux and you were able to get your hands on the stock information in Paris, you could then know what stocks to invest in to make more money. Now this sounds simple enough, but we do have to remember that they were living in the 19th centuries. So to get that information, they would pretty much have to wait for it to reach them through the mail coach, which was the fastest way they had to communicate at that time. And the mail coach itself would take several days to reach Bordeaux. Therefore, when they got the information, it would already be too late, for the move might have already happened. With this in mind, the Blanc brothers wanted to get their hands on that info so that they could have that advantage while they were trading. Now this is where the semaphore system finally comes into play. Now the brothers wanted so much to gain this information that they were willing to use the semaphore system for personal gain. Now as I stated previously, the semaphore system was pretty much put up in a time of distress, in a time when there was wars, times when there was riots, time when there was just general unrest. Now, if we were to take a wild guess as to who owned the semaphore system, who would you say it would be? If you guessed the government, completely right. The government used the semaphore system strictly for military purposes. Now, the Blanc Brothers knew this, but they wanted it so badly that they found a way to get around this system. So how did they decide to go about doing so? Well, first they had to form themselves a team. Aside from the brothers themselves, we know of 3 other people that they included to complete this plan. Now, I don't know the exact names of all these people, so maybe I'll just give them some cool nicknames so that we can play around with them. The first person was the informant. Now, this is the person that got the information from Paris and passed it on to the next guy. Now, this guy was the smooth operator. Now, this is the person that would operate the semaphore system. The brothers in themselves knew that the greatest weakness that any network could have really is its own people. So in this instance, they decided to use the greed of the semaphore system operator to their advantage. And finally, we had the lookout. Their job was to get the information that the smooth operator was sending to the Blanc Brothers. Now let's talk about how their plan worked. So the informant was located in Paris. I'm not sure if the informant was a separate semaphore operator or not, but they were able to get that information from Paris and send it to the smooth operator. Now, the smooth operator wasn't located in Bordeaux. They were located in a city called Tours, I believe. If we look at the map, we can see that Tours is in between Bordeaux and Paris. So once that information was received by the smooth operator, he was then able to send that message to the lookout. Now, as I stated before, the semaphore system was for government use only. So how were they able to send the messages using this system? Well, to put simply, they kind of used the structure of a compliment sandwich. First, you layer on a compliment, then you throw in a critique, and then you finally lay it off with a compliment. This is pretty much what they did with the semaphore system to get their information across. Except when the smooth operator sent out messages, they would first send out a message to the government. Then they would make an error. In this error would be the information for the stock market that they would provide to the Blanc Brothers. And then finally they would make a correction to their error, and then the message would just go along unnoticed by the government. The lookout would then receive this error and then jot down the information. Then they would send it to the Blanc Brothers, where they could then use that information to make money off of the stocks that they were investing in. With their perfect plan working like a dream, the Blanc Brothers were then able to make a whole bunch of money. Not only were they able to make the money, but then they gave the smooth operators bribe money, and the plan just continued to work. However, 2 years after the initiation of their plan, they were caught and arrested. How were they arrested, you might ask? Now, to put simply, their plan didn't fall apart because somebody got too greedy, someone was taking too much money. It was all just because of the sickness of the smooth operator. One day, when the smooth operator got sick, he decided that the best way to keep his operation going was to tell one of his friends what he had been doing. That way, as he was sick, he could still continue to work the plan with them, and they would both get the money. However, this friend had a clearer conscience than him, and he went and immediately told the police. And that put an end to the first cyber attack to ever happen. Now, you might be wondering what happened to Francois and Joseph Blanc, but there's not really a need to worry about them. To put simply, they got off with this crime scot-free. You heard me right, nothing happened to them. They were able to keep all their money, they were released from prison, and they were able to live regular lives again. Now, you guys might be thinking, why is that the case? This was simply due to the laws that were in place at the time. During that time, there were no laws in place about the misuse of the semaphore system. So therefore, the Blanc Brothers technically didn't break a law. However, this did put an end to their dream plan, and nothing else came of it. And finally, I want to end the video off putting my personal opinion in about what the Blanc Brothers did. Now, my thoughts on this is that it was obviously wrong to try to take advantage of the system. However, I do respect that they were able to find a vulnerability in the semaphore system. However, I do not indulge or think it was a smart idea to take advantage of that system to then make money on your own. If you found out about it, you could have just told the people who worked there, could have told the government so they knew not to hire the guy, just things like that. However, I can say that I do give them props for finding the vulnerability in that system. I guess a lot of people might not see it that way, but somehow they were able to find a way to get something to work in their favor. as a hacker or just as anybody that's trying to get into the world of cybersecurity, if you see something like that and you can notice, wow, what they did was actually kind of intelligent, you can see the good and the bad in it. I won't say they're good people for doing what they did, but I won't say that I can't respect them for even finding that flaw to work to their advantage. Like I said, I do not consent them doing this. I don't agree with them carrying out a crime, but I do think how they did it was pretty smart, pretty intelligent. But do not do that. I don't think it's cool to steal people's information, or at least not let them know that that information is out there, that information is dangerous for them. If something like that were to happen, like say you were to find that, there was a vulnerability on this Google site and you took advantage of it, you're wrong. But for you to find that vulnerability, you had to do some digging, do some research, and I can at least respect that part. Guys, crime is bad. Crime is crime. Do not commit crime. Crime is when you take stuff from people that is not yours. Do not do it. And that is my final note on the Blanc Brothers situation. But concluding there, I really just want to thank you guys for watching this video, sitting through it. And if you could help me out with a like, a subscribe, just help me so I can help this channel to grow more and more so that we reach more people. I really thought of this series because I feel like it would be a cool gateway for people who might be interested in cybersecurity to at least have some knowledge of things that happened before, maybe things that catch their attention, just things like that, so they can see that this cyber field, I know some people say it's a little bit more boring than others may realize, but I still feel like it's an exciting field with a whole bunch of exciting things to be happy and excited for. So with that being said, thank you guys once again. Please leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below what else you think I should make a video on. Comment down below any suggestions you have for me for improving my channel and things like that. Finally, thank you. That's really all I can say. You guys have been a huge help to me. And then with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.